Hey everybody, we are going to get into our Tunisian crochet video real quick, and I'm going to show you how to do the knit stitch with the Tunisian crochet. Do not be intimidated by this, you guys. This is a lot easier than it looks, and actually I have found that it is like the king stitch for washcloths. So this is part of our Christmas in July mini series that we're doing, and this is a great gift to give to somebody for Christmas. And if you're like me and Nikki, you know, you're trying to get ready for that in July. So that's why we're doing a little Christmas in July little thing. So go ahead and stay tuned. I think you'll really like this stitch. I know I've really enjoyed making it, and I am surprised on how easy it is. If you don't know how to Tunisian crochet, do not worry. Don't fret, my friend. Everything's going to be all right. And yeah, I'm going to show you how to do this, and I think you'll enjoy it. So stay tuned. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to show you all a couple of finished projects of what this stitch will look like. So here is one that is not blocked all that well. I could have did a better job blocking that. But these are what it will look like. You can really see the definition of the stitch in this one. And as I said, it was like the king of washcloths before, because that stitch is nice and tight. It's perfect for, you know, washing anything. I did one here. This is a corner to corner one, and we won't get into how to do this just yet, but maybe in the future. So that is an idea of what a finished project will look like. Also today I will be using this yarn here. This is Loops and Threads. It is a cotton yarn. As you can see, there is 80% cotton, 13% nylon, and it's really soft. We bought this on our what was it, clearance sale at Michael's recently. If you're interested in yarn walkthroughs and hauls, make sure you check out this video right here and check that out. And I'm also using, it's hard to see, but that is a 5mm size hook. Now this is a Tunisian crochet hook. I recommend you getting one. You can do this with a regular crochet hook, but your project won't be very long. This gives you the ability to make longer projects. And also one more thing, as I am getting this label off of here, in the past I've apologized for my son making noise in the background, and a subscriber commented basically saying no need to apologize for, you know, life happening around while you're trying to make these videos. And I gotta say, you're right. So I am not going to apologize, but I will say you may hear him in the background during this video. All right, so if you are ready, let's get started. I'll zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see better. First thing we got to do is make a slip knot. So any way that you do it is just fine. There's a million ways on how to do that. Whatever you're comfortable with is how you should do it. Now the first thing we're going to do after our slip knot is made is we are going to make a chain. We're going to make our foundation chain. For a washcloth about, let's see, this size here. As you can see, here's my hand. I've got a decent sized hand. This is 8 inches by 8 inches. I've been making mine 10 inches by 10 inches because I like a bigger washcloth. But for a size like this, it does kind of depend on how tight your chain is, but about 25 to 30 for your initial foundation chain. For this demonstration, I am only going to do 15. But if you're going to do a washcloth, I recommend doing at least 25 to 30. So all you got to do is, and also I mentioned don't make your chains very tight. Trust me, you do not want to make your chains tight. It's only going to make things harder as we go on. So go ahead and make your chain. So I'm gonna do 15. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right. So you have your foundation chain. All right, so what you want to do is we're going to take this chain and we're going to flip it. Okay, we're going to go to the back side. So you should finish and it'll look like this, we are just going to take that and just turn it around like that, okay? So now we're going to start doing the Tunisian crochet part. So this very first, like where the knot is, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go right into that very next chain. So you're going to insert your hook into the loop and you're going to pull the yarn through, and you'll have 2 loops on your hook. Now in the very next chain, right there, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to insert your hook, pull through. I'll zoom in just a little bit more so you can see it. So we have 3 on our hook. This chain right here, same thing. This is going to be what we're going to do on this foundation chain. Just like that. So now we got 4. We're going to continue doing that until we get to the very end. String, you want some string? Okay. Alright, so right now we have 4 loops on our hook. And we are going to continue that all the way down to the end here. So all we're doing is we're inserting our hook into the chain and we're pulling yarn through. And each time you do that, you will have a new loop on your hook. Now I will say, doing this first row here, it's a little difficult because this part right here, it's kind of hard to hold on to. At least for me it is. It's a little flimsy. But I promise you it's going to get a whole lot easier. And if you remember when I told you don't make your chain too tight, I made one of those too tight, and that's why I had a little difficulty getting that through. So don't make your chains tight. Trust me, it'll make your life so much easier. Alright, so I'm approaching the end of our chain here. Alright, so as you see, I have one more. Alright, so once you get to the end of your row, you should have however many rows you made your, how many chains you made your foundation is how many loops you should have on your hook. So we'll go ahead and count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I do recommend you counting every once in a while. Once you get the hang of it, I think you'll be just fine, but it is kind of smart to count your rows as you go. So after you do that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 by pulling some yarn through that very first loop, just like that. Okay, so basically that is your increase. That's what's going to help you grow your work upwards. Now from here on out, you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through these first 2 loops. Okay, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through the next 2 loops. Repeat, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and you're going to do this all the way to the end of your row. And each time you do that, you're taking away one of the loops on your hook. Now we can go through the definition of all these things, but I think, at least when I was learning, I wasn't too concerned about the names. I was more concerned with how to do things. So once you get to the end, you'll have one more. When you have 2 more on your hook, you're going to yarn over and you will have just 1 loop on your hook. And this is what it's looking like right now. Okay, so this will be your pattern repeat. So let me zoom in just a little bit more because I really want you to see this. This first loop right here, don't worry about that. We're going to skip that. Next to it, you'll have this little guy right here. Okay, you're going to turn him to the side a little bit, and that little space in there, that's where you're going to insert your hook. So it's looking like this as you're looking at it. If you just turn it a little bit, you're going to insert your hook right through there. I can show you, nah, the backside doesn't really help. basically what you're doing, those two right here, right where that hole is, that's where you're going into, okay? Right there. You're going right in between those two guys right there, okay? So you insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. And it's going to be the same process as before, except you're going to insert your hook each time in between, okay? Let me center back up for you all. So next up, you go to the next one. You're going to put your hook right through there, yarn over, pull through. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, let me zoom out just a little bit. And that's what we're going to do all the way to the end here. You're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. Remember, keep these not too loose. You don't want to make them loose. You want to make them, have an even tension on all the loops, but you don't want to make these tight. Insert through, yarn over, pull through. This is about as difficult as this is going to get. Like I said, this is not a hard stitch to figure out. Once you figure out where to insert your hook, this is not difficult at all. All right, we are approaching the end here. As you can see, I have one more. So on the very last one, I am going to zoom in because this is important. The very last one is going to look like this. You want to turn that guy, okay? And let me try to split. That is where your hook is going to go. You're still, this V right here, that's the last chain. Right here, when you turn that again, after your hook goes through, you should have 2 loops on your hook, okay? I'm going to show you one more time. Just turn that little guy a little bit. You'll see the V right here and there. You just want to go right behind those 2 guys. All right, pull through for your last one. And we are back to having 15 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? Now remember, we have to do our increase, so we're going to yarn over. We're going to chain 1. Okay? And after that, we're going to yarn over and we're going to go through 2. It may be hard to get through that very first one, but if you kept your tension even, the rest of them should go by fairly easy. So yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, all the way until you get to the end. If you all need to pause, no problem, just pause and come back. So we're at our last one where we have 2 loops on our hook. Yeah, thank you, buddy. Just gave me a kiss. We're going to yarn over, pull through those last 2, and now this is what we're looking like. There we go. It's not looking like much yet. It's coming. So we're going to just repeat that. You're not going to worry about this first chain here. So right here, you're going to insert your hook right in between, yarn over, pull through. And we're going to do the exact same thing as we did last. We've done our repeat. This is the knit stitch for Tunisian crochet. Now while I'm doing this row, we need to talk about curling. As you can see, as I'm doing this, this is curling, and I'm sure it's doing the same on you all. Okay, that is not a problem. If it gets to be bothersome or you just don't like it, just just curl that right over with your finger. This is not going to be a big deal. I will say, once you do complete a project, and as you are working your current project with this stitch, it will curl, okay? This bottom part will be curling. Let me zoom out. It will curl. As you get longer, it will slowly uncurl, but it will stay a little bit curled. Once we're done, we'll block it, and it will stay flat, okay? And we'll talk about blocking. I'll do that at the end. All right, so I'm at the very last stitch. Okay, so remember what we do. We kind of turn to find the last chain. It's kind of like a V. I wish I could point that out easier for you all, but I hope you see it. So you want to just go in between. You should have 2 on your hook. Okay, so after you complete that one, just like before, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to complete your process by yarning over and pulling through 2 loops until you get to the end of your row. And after you complete this row, you will begin to see your knit stitch kind of form. All right, so as you can see, you kind of have a little bit of a pattern going on. It will look like this, I promise. Just hold tight. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do one more with you all, and then I'm gonna kind of fly through this, and I will show you how to finish the project. All right, so remember, don't worry about that first chain right there. We're gonna go right in between there. And I hope you kind of see why it's beneficial to have a Tunisian crochet hook. Like I said, if you're doing something as small as what I'm making right now, you could definitely use a regular size crochet hook. But when you're making a blanket, washcloth, hat, whatever your project is, was a little bigger like this, you definitely want to use a Tunisian crochet hook. It makes life a lot easier. Now this is a straight bar Tunisian crochet hook. They have others where you have a string on the end. Is not quite as long as this, and there's a string. Those work just as well. Probably a little bit better, especially if you're making a bigger project. So I'm reaching the end, and make sure you just turn, make sure you see that V, okay? And insert your hook in the right spot. Okay, then we're going to chain 1 to do our increase, and then we're going to pull through 2 loops to the end of the row. And I promise you, just like most yarn crafts, the more you do it, the easier this becomes, the more familiar you are with it, the faster you will get. I promise. I've only been doing this for maybe, I don't know, a couple months, and you know, I've made a lot of progress lately. So now you can really see that stitch coming through. So what I'm going to do is, you guys go ahead and continue to do that. I'm going to bust out, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 more rows, and I will meet you at the end here, and I will show you how to finish off the project. All right, so you should be at the end of your project as long as you want to make it, and it should be looking like knitting, really. So I just made a small little swatch, and this is what it's looking like. And as you can see, it curls. We're going to get to that here in a minute, but I'm going to show you now how to finish off your project. So all you're going to do, this is quite easy, is you are basically just going to do single crochets, basically. So that same way you were going into that loop here, you're going to yarn over, pull through, and you're going to complete that stitch. Okay, that's all you have to do. Yarn over, pull through, and complete the stitch, kind of like a single crochet stitch. So we are going to do that all the way through. And I will say there may be other ways to complete this, but this is how I've been doing it, and I like the way it, it turns out. Whoops. All right, I got a couple more here, and I will be completing my row. All right, so for your last stitch, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to go in the same space you've been going in, okay? And we're going to complete that stitch, chain one more, and we're going to cut it. Now, I did not bring any scissors. Let's see if I can break that. All right. After you cut it, or break it like I did, you're just going to pull that through, tighten that up a little bit, and you'll just weave that in. And this is what it will look like. So this end here, as you can see, it is curling. The top not so much, but a little bit, mainly because this is a very small project. So what I do is I like to wet block it. Miss Nikki had taught me about wet blocking. I like to just take a spray bottle and just kind of spray a little bit, and you're supposed to take some pins and pin it down where it's nice and flat and leave it overnight. Well, I'm a little different. So what I've been doing is I've been spraying it, wetting it down. I'll use a bigger one. I've been spraying it a little bit, and I have been placing something flat like a book and putting that on top, and then I've been putting like a 10-pound plate on top of that, and I'll leave it overnight. Now this is a bad example of it because the bottom here, as you see, is still curled up. But I did that to this one, and it sits nice and flat. I put a border on this one, but I think they kind of look good without a border. And that's wet blocking. Just leave it overnight or a few days, or whenever it's dry, it should stay flat, and it will stay flat. So yeah, that is the knit stitch for Tunisian crochet. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you really enjoyed this as much as I have. And let me know in the comment section what you plan on making with this stitch. I've been really obsessed with washcloths, even though I have made a few hats that I'll be showing fairly soon. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and real quick, I know a lot of people like to see the backs. This is what your back will look like. So it's still functional. It's a different different look from the front to the back, and that's because we're not turning our work, basically, so we have the same pattern on both sides. So that is what the backs will look like every single time. So alright, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all at the next video. Adios.